We are back on Morning Line. Our guest is Dr. Friday Burke. She is a financial expert, and there she is. It's nice to see you. This morning, instead of having the painting of the bovine over your right shoulder, you have a very tasteful blue door.
Exactly. Try to change it up a little bit.
I like that. Mine's always the same over here. It's good to see you as always. I really appreciate you joining us. We have another phone call. Let's get to her since she waited through the break, and we'll go to Robin. Robin, good morning. What can we do for you, Robin?
Yes, Nick, this is Dr. Friday, too.
Yes.
When is the Social Security office supposed to open back up?
Gosh, we haven't had Josh Horn. Go ahead, Dr. Friday. Do you know, you mean to go in person, to make phone calls, or what are you asking for?
Go in person.
Okay. Do you know if the office, I can double check that.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. We were told several different phone lines and just services were going to be open, and that has opened a lot slower than they had expected. So I have no idea when they're physically, because that's in downtown Nashville, which isn't really opened yet for other reasons. So I'm not sure when that's actually going to open. Sorry. Great question.
We have Josh Horn, and stay there, Linda. We have Josh Horn who comes on the show. We're texting him right now to find out. But let me ask you, what issue do you have right now? What are you dealing with?
Trying to get on disability.
Okay, so you're in the process. Have you applied? Have you filed yet for it, or you just need to get started on that?
I need to get started on it.
Okay. Well, I think, most of the information there, and I don't know if she has access to it. If you're applying for Social Security, you go online, you can call, and you start the application process. And the sooner you start that, the better, because it takes a while. And even if you get rejected, as you know, Dr. Friday, people can keep appealing it. And when you finally do get it, if you do, you get back pay on it. Yep. So, ma'am, just because the office is not open does not mean you can't apply for disability at this point. But I think you have to do so online. And again, or you may want to talk to someone on the phone, but if you have access to a computer, get on there, or some of the libraries are opening up now. Someone in the reference department, there's computer systems there. It's fairly straightforward to fill that out. So, see if you can take advantage of that. All right, Dr. Friday, I was going to ask you then just about taxes. I was just thinking right now, the date today is the 18th. And the other day, I just woke up and go, oh my gosh, we missed June 15th or April 15th or whatever. And I'm like, when are we supposed to pay taxes again? I mean, think about it. Taxes usually, what a crazy world we're in with so many things having changed because of this pandemic. And April 15th would have been the date. And here we are, June 18th, and still haven't had to file. If you could have filed. A lot of people already did for their returns, right?
Right. Thank goodness. I've had people coming in like usual, getting their taxes done. But the July 15th is the final deadline. Now, I will have several people that if they owe money are sending them in with the draft date of 7/15. So that way the IRS will have, the money on time, but not necessarily take it a day before they have to take it on that situation. So it's really important this year, well, every year, when you get to that due date, be it April 15th or this year being July 15th, you really do want to make sure if you have the ability to pay something, pay all of it, whatever. They're not really great loan offices, so you really do want to see if you can get the IRS paid. It's just that sometimes they're the quieter loan officers, and they can get very aggressive, but they are not always in your face like sometimes credit card collections or other collection companies.
Oh, sure. So just so we're clear then, the fact that, we're postponed having to pay our taxes now until July 15th. On the amount that I owed on taxes, am I going to have to pay interest on it from April to July? They're not penalizing me for that. Nothing. Because they're the ones that moved that deadline. Now, of course, you're right. If I don't pay on July 15th and I owe some, you're right. The IRS is going to get you one way or the other.
Right. And your first two estimates are theoretically due July 15th. They extended the first two quarterlies that we pay, if you haven't already paid them, normally due obviously April 15th and June 15th. But they did extend both of those to the 7/15 deadline as well. So, if you, for once, if you are a little late this year preparing those particular estimates, you might actually get away with not paying penalties.
As far as you've heard, too, for some of of your clients that had returns coming their way. Was there any delays on returns coming out? I'm just wondering, with everything else that was going on with stimulus payments going out and the like, any word of that, or did most people get their returns at an early stage if they applied early?
Well, electronic filed ones, with exception of, we've had a couple of them where they have they've claimed head of household with a number of children. The IRS does now have a back door, I guess you would say, where they're checking that information against other information to make sure this person should be the person claiming the child or the children. But e-file people are still pretty much within the 21 days. Now, in the past, it was usually, even though they told us 21, people were getting them between 10 and 12 days. Now it's closer to the 21 days sometimes. If you mailed in your tax return, we actually did receive a notice from the IRS, because sometimes, well, part of the thing that messed people up is they were trying to get that stimulus money, and they went into the non-filer and they filed returns through that. And now they can't e-file because it wasn't understood how it worked. So they mailed in their return expecting a refund, and all those returns are right now sitting in the mailroom. If you mailed it in March, anytime after about March 15th, they have not even touched those returns. They are stacking up at the moment, is what we've been told. Because of the furloughs and everything happening, they have not been able to address tax returns that were physically mailed. So just expect that's going to take several more months before you will even see it in the system, because a lot of people are checking their refunds and it's not showing because the IRS has not physically processed it yet.
Gotcha. All right, let's take some more phone calls for you. The number is 737-7587. If you want to jump in, we're going till the top of the hour. And Darlene is up next for Dr. Friday. Hi, Darlene. What's your question or comment?
Good morning. I was asked, would it be another stimulus check to come out this year?
Yeah, we touched a bit on that. And another stimulus check you're wondering about. By the way, so you got your first one. Did you already get yours?
I did.
Okay, and would another one be helpful?
Good.
Great.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people agree with you, Darlene. All right, yeah, we touched on it, and let's hit it again. What do you know about the possibility of something more coming via American Public's way?
Right. I mean, based on things that the president and the Senate, and we already know what the House would like to do, have said that there could be, okay, but they don't know how they're going to do it. I think they're going to possibly do more towards certain industries or certain situations. I don't believe it's going to be a straight mail out second check. And if it does happen, it will not be happening until probably the last quarter of the year. They haven't received, I mean, as we keep saying, everyone hasn't received the first stimulus yet. So it hasn't actually been actively put into the economy to see if a stimulus is really going to help again. I know that many people would love to have more free money, but it may not stimulate the economy as the IRS and the government's hoping. So we'll just have to wait and see. But right now, no second stimulus on my radar.
Yeah, nothing on the radar. I will say this, though. I'm looking at some new posts just within the last 24 hours from CBS News. And the Treasury Secretary is saying that the administration right now is very seriously considering a second round of stimulus checks. They're looking at that. Yeah. You know, it's unclear whether or not what they want to have passed would even make it through the Senate or the House. So the point being, it's not completely off the table. I agree with you, Dr. Friday. But if something more comes along, I don't anticipate it coming until much later this year.
With the fact that a lot of states are opening slower than they expected them to reopen, with a few other issues that are happening right now, I'm not going to be surprised to see a second stimulus, because at this point they're not able to really generate the incomes. I mean, they just passed the property tax in Davidson County, right? I mean, pretty big. I think it was 34% increase that they passed. I'm just saying the cities, the states, and the counties are going to have to find other ways to make money. Usually it's sales tax, property taxes, things like that. And so that's not happening. When businesses are closed, the state doesn't get sales tax. And in this state, it's, 9.75% in most areas. So it's, it's going to have a big effect, not just on the federal government, but on a lot of state governments.
Yeah. So I guess my point to you and from Dr. Friday too, Darlene, is do not right now count on a stimulus check. Certainly don't go spend money thinking you're going to have money later to cover whatever you buy. But don't rule it out. But just at this point, there's no new stimulus plan in the works. Just some discussions. Let's go next to Taylor. Taylor, good morning. Hi, Taylor.
Good morning, Nick.
Nice
and
to hear
good
from
morning to this wonderful guest you have this morning.
Isn't she great?
Yeah, she's great. Wanted to put on a different hat for a moment.
Okay.
I've got a question on the required minimum distribution, which I understand the government is going to waive for those of us that have to pay that this year. So, I mean, I don't mean pay it, I mean take it out of our accounts. But is there any caveats to that? Am I going to have to take out twice as much next year, or is it just the ability to skip this year and that's it? I didn't know if there was problems that I would face later if I did that.
That's really a really good question.
The second part of that is I've already taken half the distribution. Would I be allowed, since that's tax-free growth, be able to put that back into the same account? Because, as you know, you can't add two accounts once you're retired. So
all right. All right.
Good questions.
You got a couple questions there. All right, she'll get it for you. It's good to hear from you, by the way, Taylor. I haven't heard from you in a while. Go ahead, Dr. Friday.
Okay, so he's correct that they waived the RMDs, or required minimum distributions, this year, and they are not requiring you to do a double dip later. It is going to possibly extend out one more year, is the conversation I have heard. So like many other things, it's not going to change. As you know, you take it based on a percentage based on your life expectancy table that the IRS has. So it will change next year's, because obviously you have more in it than you normally do. I would say the only advantage, if you are using the qualified, where you're making qualified charitable contributions through your RMDs, you would want to still take your requirement of distribution because it's free money because you're giving it to charity. Other than that, there is no way, to my knowledge, and I'm not a financial planner, but there is no way of putting back your required minimum distribution once you've taken it out. As far as I know there's like a 30-day or 60-day loan. If it's within that time period, you might be able to put it back in, but I would say probably not.
Gotcha. Listen, on that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Barbara and others, stay there. We'll get to your calls for Dr. Friday when we come back. And we do have some lines open. We've had some good questions from Taylor and Robin and others. So if you have one, 737-7587. We'll take a break and be back with more right after this.